John Vanderlyn was an American neoclassical painter who lived from October 18, 1775, to September 23, 1852. Vanderlyn was born in Kingston, New York. His grandfather, Pieter Vanderlyn, was a portrait painter in the American colonies. Archibald Robinson, 1765 to 1835, a Scotsman who later became one of the directors of the American Academy of the Fine Arts, was the first person to teach him how to draw. He worked for a print shop in New York and learned how to draw from him. He went to Philadelphia, where he spent time in the studio of Gilbert Stuart and copied some of Stuart's portraits, including one of Aaron Burr, who then hired him as a student. Aaron Burr was his teacher. In 1796, Burr sent Vanderlyn to Paris to study for 5 years. In 1801 he moved back to the United States and lived with Vice President Burr, where he painted the famous portraits of Burr and his daughter. In 1802 he painted 2 pictures of Niagara Falls. In 1804 they were engraved and printed in London. In 1803, he went back to Paris. In 1805, he went to England, where he painted the Death of Jane McCrea for Joel Barlow. Vanderlyn then went to Rome, where he painted Marius among the ruins of Carthage. This picture was shown in Paris, where Vanderlyn got the Napoleon gold medal. Because of this, he stayed in Paris for 7 years and did very well during that time. In 1812, he showed an unclothed Ariadne, which was engraved by Durand and is now in the Pennsylvania Academy. This made him more well known. When Aaron Burr ran away to Paris, Vanderlyn was his only help for a while. Vanderlyn moved back to the United States in 1815 and painted portraits of many famous people, such as James Monroe, John C. Calhoun, Governor Joseph C. Yates, Governor George Clinton, James Madison, Robert R. Livingston, New York Historical Society, Andrew Jackson, Zachary Taylor, and George Clinton. In 1834, after George Washington had died, he finished a full-length painting of him for the U.S. House of Representatives, based on the Lansdowne portrait by Gilbert Stuart from 1796. He also showed panoramas and built the Rotunda in New York City, which had panoramas of Paris, Athens, Mexico, Versailles, by himself, and some battle scenes. Neither the portraits nor the panoramas made him much money, partly because he worked so slowly. Vanderlyn helped start the National Academy of Design in 1825, and he taught it at school. Congress asked him to paint the landing of Columbus for the rotunda of the U.S. Capitol in 1842 because he had friends in high places. He went to Paris and hired a French artist, who did most of the work, so the story goes. It was carved for the $5 bills in the United States. Later, this painting was made into an engraving that was used on the 1893 Columbian 2C postage issue. Vanderlyn was the first person from the United States to study in France instead of England and learn how to draw well. He was smarter than most of his peers, but the 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica said that his work lacked charm, even though it was faithfully and skillfully done. Appleton's Cyclopedia said that his book The Landing of Columbus was hardly more than respectable. He died in poverty on September 23, 1852, in Kingston, New York. He is buried in Kingston, NY, at Wiltwyck Rural Cemetery.